1, 2, 3, 4. Eyes and how they find me thinking of you. Reserve it in mind and it will find a within. Missing you's a place I can't go, but I've held and then let go. Ripping hands, bruising nails, the facing of a home I can't work for so long. Our patience still it creates a vacant filth. We both safe from the world and it will find you thinking of it. Reason and time, I know that it will surely fucking kill me. Save from the world. Thanks. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Gone missing for days and you know it's hard to feel nothing so graceful and nothing's wrong. To lose self-hold. Memories not quite had so far from where they formed. And there it finds me. No one else can build us a home. Please break the stone so I can see what the sediment weighs. Please break the stone so I can see what the sediment of sentiment weighs. Please break the stone so we can fly the drain before I feel strong enough to dry up. Be engaged. Answer will change each time, but I swear I never feel any cleaner or more prepared. No, I can't. So ask me why my attempt for respite takes precedent over yours, or worse. Someone stirs. Sense of motion and all the things I would suspend. 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 I would suspend.
Gotta change it up. Don't get that on the record.
What?
What's next?
The double song.
I should define a place to burn all of my good times. Anxious to start again, invoke the impulse of hope, and then I find a space where I give up control. Took so long to obtain, running into this world of earth and sky, replaced into what can you talk? I can't describe the place that made me turn in a song. I never tried to stay, but what if I can't come home? It took such a long obtain, running against a current. When you call, I am home. I cannot but describe it. Always home by the phone. Ways to come back so late. Always home when you call. I come and I ask for more. Someplace around home. Patience and try to stay to what gets you off. It's such a while to say, what if I want to stop? What can I try to say? You don't give up control. It took such a long place, running against the home. And I took my time to stay a while, and I won't become part. I don't have to tell. Talk with me now. It's for so much. Light bulb strings tell me I can swell. The stigmatism is still like hell. And I talk too much when I'm alone. And I'm right sometimes. And it talks if so much, and I cannot tell. You want me to die, but you cannot compare. Talking that mind you suffer so much. And if we don't get well, then we don't get well. And I rise up always to always to settle comes. start cross stitching on buying, mended it with intricate words, rested gently cradling gladly through the things that we confront will last forever. Everything incredible comes as easily as ever now, 'cause lossless communication. So thank you for making it so right to live beside you. You see me complete as no one else, and I will never need again. Seek someone else then, and this will always, 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 always be hyperbolical. And we will chronicle nothing, 'cause this isn't a real thing, just an idealization.
Is everyone wait? I'm good. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Once time is split, I don't want you in my life. Wrong thoughts anymore. I'm patient out 1,000 times. Still devastates the spine. That's all you want. It's great placed until you want. Always looking around. It's a workout. It's a workout hard. It's a workout. forced your hand down her throat. Wanna see she'll choke for you. No, you got lump instead. Kind that forms your name is said. Thanks, that's all we got. Thanks for coming. My hand's warmed up.
Nice.
Dang.
Mine actually stayed okay.
Can you go out?
Mine was cold.
Hey, we're Truth Club -1. I'm Travis. I play guitar and I sing in the band.
My name's Elise. I am making you hold this for me. I play drums in the band.
And I'm Cam. I play the smells, bass, and guitar.
Truth Club started because me and Elise met while we were in attendance at NC State by going to like.
We kind of met before you actually went to NC State.
Well, yeah, but we became friends just going to house shows that like people who did WKNC, like radio station stuff on campus, would throw. And Cameron and I were in a band in high school, and because he went to college elsewhere, we didn't do that band anymore. And I was like itching to start a new band with some songs that I had started writing, and Elise was like, I play drums, and I was like, let's do something. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I was definitively, that was the year when I was finally like, I want to play drums in a band, and so I made sure that I was living somewhere that I could have a drum set, and I had been playing and practicing more. So yeah, timing wise, it just kind of worked out really well that we were both looking, and then meshed really well when we started playing together.
And we had booked a tour and had someone playing bass with us for a short bit, but like it wasn't working out, and so like last minute we needed someone else to play bass, and it was like for over the summer, so we were off of school, and I asked Cameron if he wanted to play bass and like learn the songs in like a week, and he did
Swooped
it
right in.
he swooped in. I don't know if I would characterize it as a swoop in, but yeah,
I've been waiting.
You what?
Said I've been waiting. I've always wanted to rejoin your band.
My band. It's not my band. It's our band.
Well, I mean, we're
Yeah.
in a band in high school.
Yeah. It was called Astro Cowboy. We grew up in Wilmington. Yeah. Yeah. We were like, we grew up playing guitar together. Like, we met in middle school and we started playing guitar together, and then like we liked like the Strokes a lot, and like all the other like kids our age that we went to school with like Slipknot or like Rise Against kind of stuff. And anytime we would try to get somebody who like played drums or anything to play with us, they were like, y'all are like, y'all's music isn't cool enough. Like, they were like, you're not like heavy enough, and we would get sad. So then Cameron was like a natural adept drummer, and then we started playing as like a two-piece, and then that was fun.
I went to Apex High School, which is like 15 or 20 minutes away in Apex. I didn't play drum set until more recently within my life. I started playing piano in like first grade, and then I actually did orchestra for 2 years. But then I started doing percussion in band in 5th grade. And so I did that for a while. I started off and on learning drum set a little bit in like middle school, a little bit in high school. I played in like jazz band and like pep band for a little bit. And I did marching band. My like high school list of extracurriculars is just like 6 different music things that I did in and out of school. But yeah, I have a very classical background initially, which I think definitely influences the way that I play. I don't think I could play drum set nearly the way I do if I hadn't done everything else. And I still like a lot of that stuff also. I don't do it quite as much anymore, but I do miss it time to time. Yeah, I guess I started listening to more like indie rock, alternative music a bit in like high school, and especially in college when I started going to, as Travis was talking about, like kind of house shows and smaller shows around Raleigh, and started seeing some smaller local bands and stuff that I really liked. And then eventually, I mean, one of those was I saw Astro Cowboy play a couple times my freshman year of college, and I was like, oh, this band is cool. And then eventually Travis and I became friends, and then I was like, oh, these are just like normal people. Like I could do this. Like we could be friends. They're not like these people that are like this tier above somehow doing this other thing. But it was, I mean, we can kind of get into this in a second, but it was definitely interesting when we first started playing. Travis and I both had to kind of teach each other to communicate in very different ways than each of us were used to, based on kind of what we had prior done musically. But that was also, I mean, I'm really glad that I have learned to communicate more in that way, which
that way
I
love the
qualitative quantitative
yeah. No, I think what Elise is talking about, just like you were alluding to it, I don't know at this point about Cameron. I don't know what he's does on his own time, but I'm not classically trained at all. I'm like, my parents played music, my dad more so, or they still do, but my dad more so than my mom, and he would play out like working bands, like cover gigs and like playing at friends' houses, and I just like watched them from a very young age, like doing music performance, like, you know, as like a fun like hobby, and you know, it was very encouraging, and he encouraged me to like, he would like, they would let me sit in and like learn drum beats and try to play along with them and stuff, and that was like really cool. And I just like, I don't know, I just thought that like sound was so sick, like just, and harmony, and I don't know, as like a little kid I would just like sit with the guitar and like make the worst sounds, but then also try to make good sounds happen, and then I would just sort of remember how to make the good sounds. And I guess that's just teaching myself, and like having his friends sort of help me along the way, like learning guitar chords and stuff, and just learning songs that I liked. And then I guess it's kind of rambling, but I no classical training, but I guess what Elise was talking about with the style of communications, like not having technical musical knowledge, a lot of my language basis for how to communicate songwriting stuff is less than typical, I guess, or just was not the norm or whatever, more affect based, I guess. And Elise was throwing out all these terms and stuff, or trying to count things technically, and I'd be like, I don't really know what that means, but I think I get what that feels like or whatever, you know. And so now we've kind of met in the middle a little bit more. It's a bit more of a qualitative aspect, but also like I kind of know what she's talking about on a more
Yeah.
technical scale. So that's cool.
I guess I would say, like, specifically, you're a lot better about, like, knowing the words for, like, rhythmic kind of notation and speaking back and forth on that, but you've also kind of opened up me to more qualitative terms on kind of the feel or sound of a part than I would have used before. So I feel like it's, to me, it's definitely been beneficial. I would hope it's been mutually beneficial.
At least, can we get those sunset drums on this next part? Can we get the... Can you bring the thunder to the pre-chorus? And stuff like that, yeah. What about you, Cameron, though? What you did you...
I've been training classically in secrecy from you guys. No, I definitely, am not trained in any, like, classical sense or in any sort of way other than that, like, qualitative way. Like, I definitely learned a lot of my rhythms from playing Rock Band on Expert. And then a lot of guitar from Ultimate Guitar Tab, just like the zeros and the twos on which frets. So,
yeah, I mean, I honestly think the reason that, like, I'm as good at, or think that I'm have whatever ability on guitar that I have, there's no evaluations being made here about my ability. But just because I feel like we egged each other on, like, just playing, because it was a lot of fun, like, echoing, just seeing my dad and his friends have, like, a great time playing music and sharing that experience. Like, when we met and became friends, I had started playing guitar, and I brought it over one time. I was like, check this out, and I played, like, classic rock riffs. I think I played, like,
it was Barracuda.
Yeah. And you were like, that's awesome.
No, I gotta learn how to do that.
Yeah, and then we just started learning songs together, and it was, like, a really fun way to spend, like, a sleepover, like, learning rock songs, or trying to make up crappy little songs too. Yeah. I mean, I think, like, the advent of, like, having, like, I think I got my, like, first cell phone when I was, like, 12 or 13, and it had, like, really low amount of storage, but I could record, like, little audio clips on the shitty mic, of, like, guitar riffs and stuff, and, like, that was really, I think we would do the same thing, just, like, record riffs, but, like, full band composition, like, trying to record that, I don't think came until the phones got better, and we would just, record our rehearsals, because, I mean, I didn't know anything about, like, how any of that stuff worked. Like, I like, knew how to plug in my guitar when I was, like a middle schooler, but, like, I, like, barely knew how, like, a PA worked. Like, so, like, we, for the longest time, didn't even rehearse with, like, a microphone. It was just, like, kind of, like, jamming in the garage.
I also think the voice memos, the iPhone, the early iPhone voice memos, like,
when it got better,
because it was just a two-piece, like, there wasn't, I mean, it was just guitar, vocals, and drums, so it was, like, it was easy to get that.
Yeah, it was easy to hear. We had, like, a really fortunate experience when we were in high school, because, like, I went to, like, a church camp one summer when I was, like, trying new stuff out, trying new hats on, when I was, like, 16, and I met a guy there who was, like, into similar, like, cool bands at the time. I don't even necessarily remember what band we bonded over, but, like, he was like, yeah, my dad, like, is really into, like, recording and, like, has, like, a home studio, and, like, I showed him a video of our band. He was like, y'all are sick, like, do y'all want to record some music? Like, my dad would probably be really into this, and he was really nice and patient, and essentially, like, recorded an album for us.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Like, Astro Cowboys album, and it was, like, really cool to just, like, learn. I feel like I, like, really sponged. That was, like, the first moment, like, similar to what you were talking about in terms of just, like, being in a band and, like, seeing the tangibility of that, like sort of, like, the curtain is parted, like, I felt like when we recorded with Dr. Evans, like, I was kind of like, oh, you just, like, plug a microphone into this thing and like, you put it, like, there, and that's how you make a sound happen, like and just being more mindful of that, like, oh, you put, like, a pop filter on in front of a microphone so it doesn't sound horrible when you're yelling, and, like, your plosives, the fricative sounds.
I think the main band that really did that for me was Modest Mouse. Just, like, I don't know, there was something really that kind of woke up like my brain that was like learning music at the time to like just sort of like how single note lines that are like pretty simple could like mesh and like meld in like these crazy beautiful ways and intricate ways, but also when you like listen to them, they're pretty simple to listen to and really nice to listen to, but then also complex in a weird way, and also can like go anywhere you want. Like Modest Mouse definitely felt like listening to them all was definitely like, oh, this is really pleasant, oh, this is really not, oh, this is really pleasant, oh, this is really not, which I feel like we definitely like have embodied that a lot.
Yeah, a lot of like tension and release, like harmony and in dissonance, like in the same thing.
Yeah, but I'd say that's probably the band for me.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I would have to, I mean, just because my experience in writing songs and playing music is like so attached to like Cameron's experience too, just because like Cameron's the first person that I've like written a song with and like played music with like consistently for so long. I mean, I would definitely agree with Modest Mouse. I think before that though, like my mom was like really into cool 90s alternative rock, and so I think when I was like a little kid and like younger, I think I was like really into the energy of Nirvana, and I mean that band still blows me away. I know that that's kind of what like passe to say. I mean the band's like Target bands, you know, bands you can buy your t-shirt. It's kind of passe to be like they're awesome, but I mean I don't care. Like Nirvana is such an awesome band, and so I think that like, you know, especially when you're a little kid and you don't necessarily like understand that that's like really sad and angry music. You just hear the energy of it and you're like, I'm a kid and this energy is great. I think aesthetically like a big band for us and me was like the Strokes, because I was like a cargo shorts like classic rock kid in like middle school and when I started playing guitar, and I was like very on the tip like rockist of like, oh, there's no good music anymore, and then I like and then I can't believe like being 11 and thinking that's like depressing. But you know, then I heard like the Strokes and I was like aesthetically I was like, oh, this is like really cool. Like it was like the first thing, and that like made me want to explore more like avenues of like modern alternative music and sort of like trace that backwards to more like 80s and 90s, like at least in terms of like guitar inspiration, like music wise, like 80s and 90s alternative bands.
I feel like a much lamer answer than both of theirs is I got really into like Coldplay at the beginning of high school. You know, alt piano rock was obviously, as somebody who played piano and also did percussion in band, I was like, this is sick. I was like, this is so cool. But by the time that I kind of played drum set more, I definitely also liked Modest Mouse a lot. I don't know, I feel like in terms of like the I have to do this or like a I can do this sort of mentality, probably just seeing local bands, honestly. Like I remember one of the first local bands that I really liked was I saw Ghost Blonde play at King's in probably 2014. I think it might have been like the Towers release show.
Wow, shout out to some legacy.
Yeah,
That's
shout
like
out to some like real Raleigh heads.
Yeah.
I think that was the show. There might have been a third band, but I don't remember specifically. But I think that's one of the first, like, most concise times I can remember going to a show and being like, oh, this is like a local band who is good and is cool. And I actively, like, they're not just like people who live here who play music, but they're a band who has like recorded music that I would like to listen to on my own time. And I think from there, kind of going towards what I was talking about earlier and kind of eventually getting to meet some of those people, I think that for me was kind of the move from I like this music to I want to be a part of this also. Travis and Cam definitely have their own start to this because they can explain this more in a second, but the first tour I believe either of them went on was aforementioned Museum Mouth brought Astro Cowboy on a tour. I believe you guys were like 17 or something.
We had just graduated high school.
And then I think Travis did one other tour with another band. So by the time Truth Club kind of came to form, we'd probably been a band for like 8 months or something.
No.
We played our first show in February of 2018.
No, it's 2017.
Was that 2017?
Yeah, it's February 2017.
Okay.
And then we went on tour in
that August or July.
Yeah, July of. So yeah, it was like 6 months because we only played for like a month before that.
It wasn't that long.
Yeah,
we had like just enough songs to like play a full set at that point.
And full set being like 20 minutes, 20.
It was probably you tuned for a while. It's probably longer than that. Yes, that was. If you could hear that, that was the one Cam hopped on. But I guess so that was the first tour that I ever went on. And I guess at that point I was familiar with like being at house shows. I had maybe helped start, I probably hadn't started doing anything. Later on I kind of started booking some certain stuff and sometimes like helping to run things. But at that point I think I was just really excited about the band. Travis has always been very serious about music, and so it kind of, I don't know, we just like we figured out that we had like a chunk of time in between summer stuff and fall semester, and it just felt like not even a question, honestly. Like, I don't remember it being much of a decision, just like we have this chance, we should absolutely do this. And especially because we had been, going to shows and playing some local shows, we had started to get to know some people. We had at least a moderate network, especially on like the East Coast, because a lot of Northeast bands will come down through North Carolina a lot. So that I ended up booking a lot of that one, just kind of reaching out. And it was funny at that point because we had one YouTube video of one song.
Yeah, we didn't have any recorded music, or we put out we had a video that a friend took of us playing that was like, we
put out the songs when we were about to leave.
Yeah, when we were about to leave. So when we were booking it, we didn't.
Yeah, so booking it, I was like, here's this one YouTube video. This person sent us to you and said maybe you could help us out. We definitely had really varied shows on that tour. Some were very cool, some were playing to 2 or 3 people in either a bar or in a basement or something. But I don't know, there's something really exciting, especially when you are really happy and proud of the music that you're making, where you start playing shows and playing them locally is cool, but it's the idea of going and playing with other people that you've met where they're from is really exciting. The idea of sharing it with other people is really exciting. I don't know if I really have good tangible words to put to this other than it's just really exciting. And the idea of like getting to meet new people, and especially that size shows, it ends up being a much more like social experience. And so regardless of whether or not we would call that first tour a success, we met a lot more people that I've stayed in contact with, people that we've played shows with since then. We definitely made at least some fans, I think. I mean, we like sold shirts to people. Yeah, I don't know. It was a really crazy experience, but it was also definitely it was just exciting to share music with other people.
I think something for me that like really makes tour like really incredible and like nice, like a large part of it for me is honestly like the camaraderie within the band. Like as a band going on tour, like, sharing that's incredible too, but also just like, it almost feels a little bit like sleeping on floors, sleeping on couches, like not knowing what we're getting into and all the craziness that kind of could ensue. It's like, it almost is a little bit like hazing ourselves together. Nah, just kidding. But it's really interesting. I feel like when we've gone on tour, it's been like, I don't know, we see a lot together and we do a lot together, and it definitely like the camaraderie like hits hard.
It feels very insulating from the outside world also. It's kind of, I just remember there have been times where we've like been on tour and maybe it's been a couple days or a week or something, and then like a friend from home is texting me about something going on, and I'm like, I just feel literally so separate from that. Like I feel like I'm like a world apart from whatever everyone else is doing while they're not here.
I mean, I feel like if part of your question was sort of about like demystification of that, like of like how to approach like going on a DIY tour, I mean, like I would, for anyone out there who's trying to do that or is interested, I guess like from my viewpoint, because I don't do a lot of the booking in Truth Club. At least did a lot of booking on those tours because I'm easily mentally fatigued by emails. But if I had to distill it down to like necessary elements, it's like we were very fortunate in that I had just purchased a minivan, and it's like it's very crucial to have a vehicle because it's really expensive to rent a car, and when you're like 19 you can't rent a car. So I would say if anybody out there is trying to get a van, what you should get, it's a horrible time to buy a car, but you need a second generation Honda Odyssey. That is what I had. That's a perfect vehicle to go on a tour with. Comfortably seats 4 people, full rear and front air conditioning, can fit all the gear. But other than a vehicle, and I mean obviously just having enough free time and like security of not having to work during said free time. I mean, it's just like, it seems really intimidating, like you were saying, to sort of like penetrate the social spheres and like bubbles of like art that you admire and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't know, like booking DIY shows to me just seems like a lot like, it's like Tinder for art, like, and like that you can just, if you're just like okay with cold emailing people, like, and cold DMing bands on whatever social media platforms, and like are just okay with potentially not getting a response, then like this is that's
I would even say it's like you have to expect that most of the people you contact will either not respond or just say no and not be helpful. And I'm not saying that in like oh, these people are mean and exclusive. It's just, especially if they don't know who you are, they're not necessarily feeling inclined to like want to play with you.
I don't think that's always true, but
No.
like I guess I was gonna say, it's like I feel like you'd be pleasantly surprised with how many people actually will hit you back and at least be like, thanks for reaching out, you know, and you like sort of feel, even from like, you know, I felt like when we were trying to book our first tour, we were like Elise was elaborating upon, we like had no music out, we had there's no real reason to know who we were, like take a chance. But even so many people were like, oh, thanks for reaching out, like there was so much care in the responses that we got, just by proxy of like these people caring about trying to, you know, pass along and like uplift just like cool music in general, or just like taking that chance. And it's like most of the time you'll get a response, but then a lot of times it'll be like cold leads, like, oh, sorry, that date doesn't work, and you just kind of have to like just keep emailing, DMing people. And I don't know,
sometimes you do get like a recommendation chain, which is always cool though. Like, you know, the first person that you found says, okay, like I can't play that date, but try hitting up band A, B, C, and D. Maybe one of them can play, maybe one of them gives you 3 more bands to hit up. But I guess I feel like all of our best shows on that tour were less of like a cold approach to someone and more of someone we had like met or communicated with prior, or like a friend of a friend or something, and was able to kind of wedge our way in and ask them if they could help out. And those ended up being definitely really cool experiences.
helps to be genuine, because you got a network, but if you seem obsequious at all,
Can you define that?
obsequious is like I can like picture it in my brain. It's sort of like trying to be like slimy, like trying to suck up to someone, you know, like so you can get something out of it. Yeah.
You can spot a slimy email from
Right,
away.
and it makes, and that those are like the ways, like trying to network in that way. That's like a surefire way that no one will ever hit you up again. I don't know why I'm on that. Anyway, to speak to like the emotional quality of touring, and like sort of part of your question that was like, why do it? I mean, honestly, like, I don't know. Like, I think that's just like, I think when we went on the first tour, it's kind of just what you do. Like, it's an enticing prospect of like being in a band, especially like being a high school kid. Like, I had never really traveled. I'd gone on like a road trip or two before, but like the idea of like going on a road trip to do something is like, I'm like, oh, that's like do something as in like bring your stuff and make music. Like, I mean, I guess you go to like parks and take pictures on road trips, but like
To have a little bit of business.
yeah, to do something like that you're passionate about, that like sort of, as Elise was saying, exists in this sort of insular space outside of like, you're not going to these places necessarily because they're the places, you know, because you're trying to see like Mount Rushmore. Like, you're going there to like be yourself in your truest form for a bunch, like, and share that and roll the dice with some random people and see what kind of connections you make. Like, that's like the enticing part to me, or was, and still is. And so, and just like having the grace of someone bringing us, who had done that, had that whole experience before, bringing us green children along. It was cool. I mean, it was really cool. And then just doing it ourselves that first time with Truth Club, it was really cool. Like, the camaraderie you were talking about. Yeah, it was just like, cool to go from like feeling like the little kid in the back seat doing that sort of thing to being like, okay, we're like driving, like this is, you know, just feel like you're really in control of your life in a weird and like potent and scary but also really exciting way. I don't know. How do they find us, Elise?
How do they find us? They find us, you Google Truth Club, you go to, I believe it's truthclub.bandcamp.com.
Yeah.
The Truth Club's before the Bandcamp. You find us on all your favorite streaming services. I believe our music is on YouTube. Yeah, we're not hard to find. Search Truth Club online.
All of our social media handles are Join Truth Club on various platforms. What are we doing next month, Cameron?
You'll just have to wait and find out.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
if it's not too revealing, we might be having a little bit of extra music coming out sometime soon.
Extra music coming up.
Extra music coming.
I'll be working on some extra music.
Some more things to listen
Just some
to.
extra.
Yeah, some extra.
Extra.
Yeah. Thank you, NC State Libraries.
Thank you, Anisette Bakery. Thank you to the library. Thank you to Jason.